is something that we all have to deal with. And the statistics about heart disease are, coronary artery heart disease is the number one killer. It takes more lives every year than cancer or any other disease. So that's why I think it's such an important system. And so many things can go wrong, but there are things we can do to make sure that we reduce risk factors. I'll share with you what some of those risk factors are today and how your diet, lifestyle, and dietary supplementation can help you with that.
Well, tell us about some of those risk factors. Let's start going down the list. I know we just doing the research, we talk about food, stress, sleep.
Sure.
But let's start with number one. Can you tell us
sure
about those risk factors?
Dr. Cooley, there's a whole constellation of them, and some experts separate out diet and lifestyle. They'll just say lifestyle, and they include diet in that. I talk about diet and then lifestyle, which is everything else. One thing that is a risk for us is smoking. We know that smoking is a major risk factor for coronary heart disease. It always has been. The nicotine and all those other chemicals and the carbon monoxide put a strain on the heart, making it work faster and harder. And that will increase your risk for blood clots down the road. High blood pressure. High blood pressure is called the silent killer, and it is a killer. No question about it. It puts, again, strain on your heart, on the vessels, the vascular system, and can lead to coronary heart disease because the pressure against the walls of the artery score those arteries, and then the body tries to repair it, and ironically will try to use cholesterol to help repair that damage too. So high blood pressure is a big deal. And then there's cholesterol. Now, many of my colleagues disagree with me. They don't think cholesterol is a big deal. I think it's a very big deal. We've known for decades, that dietary cholesterol consumed in excess, it is a profound risk factor. Now, if you look at some of the more recent studies that are published by organizations that have a vested interest in selling, high cholesterol medications or whatnot, they will tell you, one thing, but I know better. I look at the early studies, and high cholesterol is fat, and it's made by the liver, and it's made from saturated fat, as it turns out, in your diet. Now, cholesterol is essential for good health, but too much cholesterol in the blood leads to coronary heart disease, or sometimes called coronary artery disease. Then there's another risk factor as well, lack of regular exercise. You got to keep your body moving. The inactivity, we did not evolve to sit on a sofa. Think about the number of hours people sit. They sit when they drive to work. Maybe that's 45 minutes an hour. They drive home. That's what they're sitting then. They sit at the office. They come home, they're dead tired, and they sit and watch TV. Well, we did not evolve. We evolved to keep moving. And when you lead a sedentary life, your inactivity, fatty deposits can build up in your arteries. And when that happens, that can damage the endothelium, and then, you end up with atherosclerosis. Type 2 diabetes, or diabetes generally, high blood sugar levels lead to diabetes. We know that. And diabetes can more than double your risk of coronary artery disease or coronary heart disease. Diabetes leads to coronary artery disease because the lining of the blood vessels become thicker, which restricts the blood. When you start constricting those arteries, you're building up pressure. Then there's a thing called lipoprotein A, which is a type of, it's like cholesterol, and it's a type of fat, and it's made by the liver. It's a known risk factor for cardiovascular disease. So, but I urge this audience today, your audience, to be mindful of how much your body can make cholesterol. But dietary cholesterol is the culprit. You need cholesterol, but our diet is such that it's just ripped with and filled with cholesterol, these foods, these highly processed foods. So please be mindful of that.
Wow. That's people do need to be mindful of all of those things, because many times people really don't pay attention to the food that they eat, and a lot of oily, a lot of fried foods, and a lot of high cholesterol foods. People just take that for granted because it tastes good, and they don't know what type of damage that might be doing to the body. What are your thoughts on that, Doc?
Well, you said something. It tastes good. These food companies, it is. I know them well. They have a bunch of PhDs. They have food scientists working for them. They have figured out, using just 3 ingredients: salt, sugar, and fat, how to make food almost. I believe there is such a thing as food addiction, addictive. These highly processed foods, fast foods, are highly addictive. They have even figured out, for example, the bliss point. They know exactly how much fructose or sugar to put in, how much salt to put in, how much fat to put in the food, so that it is even more addictive. It turns out that those pathways in the brain for these foods are the same pathways for addiction to drugs. And so it's not science fiction, it's science. Food addiction is real. That food tastes so good. And you form this habit, and those habits are hard to break. That's one of the most challenging things as a nutritionist, getting people to change their eating behaviors, or otherwise their relationship with food, which Dr. Cooley began in utero when you were inside your mom. What your mom ate began to shape your relationship with food and your health destiny once you were born. It's wow. very interesting.
Let's hold that thought, because we got to take a station break.
Sure.
Want to hold that thought, because that's important that we touch on that when we get back. So wow, very, very interesting conversation that we're having today. If you want to be part of it, just go to the phones, 1-866-577-2473, or whichever platform you're watching it on. Just ask this great doctor any question that you like. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Book Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by Dr. James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Streaming now at theanswersandiego.com and odyssey.com.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and got this absolutely fantastic guest that really, very, very smart guy right here that we got.
There's always a faster gun in town, Dr. Cooley.
Hey, Todd, what are you thinking so far, man? You've been listening to, you producing this. What are your thoughts, Todd?
We all know the importance of the eating healthy and how it affects our heart. But the main thing is, put it in the forefront of your mind. So this, it's a great thing. All these steps and everything we're learning today, just a reminder, hey, you can't put your health on your back burner.
Yeah. And a lot of people would do that. A lot of people would do that. And Doc, you was getting ready to say something.
He just said something interesting. Put it on the forefront of your mind. What I teach my clients, some already know this, but most don't. I teach them to eat consciously and mindfully. Sounds easy, and it sounds, it's easy to say. Eating mindfully, paying attention to what you are eating in your relationship with food. Your relationship with food is one of the most important relationships of your life. Well, what is that relationship? It is what you eat, when you eat, where you eat, why you eat, with whom you eat, and how you think about and feel about food, and how the food makes you feel and think. That's a complicated relationship. Most people are walking around the planet, they're thinking about their relationship with somebody else. They just think food is there to eat. Well, food is not just food. Food is, our destiny, our health destiny. And nutrition is our, the mechanisms that make food turn into energy and help heal the body and all these things and sustain and create and reclaim our health and wellness. So eating, your producer's right. How do you get that into the front of your head? Most people, I've learned, Dr. Cooley, you probably learned this too. You have a vast experience in this life. People don't become alarmed until an alarm goes off. And then all of a sudden, they're at a DEFCON 5 that, the missiles have been launched and they're all worried about what's going to happen to them. And trying to get people to think ahead, and especially with your cardiovascular system. My belief that every single person today listening to this show or watching it needs to be doing certain things, whether you have heart disease or not, or high blood pressure or not, or any other cardiovascular disease. You should be thinking and behaving in ways that protect your cardiovascular system, because it won't be a matter of just if it'll happen. It'll be just a matter of when it'll happen. And you'll end up getting sick with a stroke, a heart attack, or some other high blood pressure or something else. So I'm a big believer. That's why I'm so glad you allowed me to come on to talk about this very important topic. And it takes time. Your relationship with food is behavioral. You have habits. As I said, your relationship with food began when you were inside your mom. For example, we know from the science of epigenetics that if a woman gains a lot of weight during pregnancy, she will give birth. Now women are giving birth to the very big babies these days because they're eating a lot and the baby's getting big. Well, what happens is the baby, if born to a mom who became way overweight, now has a propensity to become obese. It doesn't change the sequencing of the genes. It changed the expression of the genes. And this is a fact. We now have children, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, on high blood pressure meds, high cholesterol medications. And when they do scans of their arteries, they already start to see what they call fatty streaks in the arteries, heart disease is already beginning. And it's associated with the obesity epidemic among children. Also, that's another risk factor I didn't mention earlier, the obesity epidemic. These youngsters, by the time they're 20, they're going to have diseases that shouldn't happen until middle age. High blood pressure, heart disease, and so on, atherosclerosis. And where does it all track back to? The diet.
Wow. You just you sent me somewhere because what you say is so true. Especially, that women are having big babies these days, and some of the women started out as being small, but then became obese during pregnancy or overweight. But the baby, he used to feed in the womb. And I believe that the baby comes out, he's still used to eating all that he can and just don't know how to stop. And a lot of times that's the case.
Dr. Cooley, you trigger so many thoughts every time you say something. It causes me to think of other things. We know, this is not, again, these are facts. Women who get addicted to drugs during pregnancy, what happens to the fetus and once the child, then the baby is born? The child is addicted. And then they have to wean that baby, that infant, off of the drugs, because everything passes through the placenta. Why would it be any different with food? If the mother is eating fast food, fried foods, unhealthy food throughout the pregnancy, that is what the baby is eating. And whatever she drinks, that's what the baby is drinking and getting it into his or her system. So there's no difference. That's why when the child is born, and these are the science tells us this, these youngsters that are born in this condition have a far greater risk to become obese later in life. The obesity epidemic among children, 25% of children are overweight or obese. That's crazy. When I went to school, maybe there was one of my fellow students who might have been a little overweight. Now you walk into, at random, any classroom in America at any grade, you're going to see a large percentage of those youngsters and children and some ready to graduate from high school, overweight or obese. And it all tracks back to what? Diet and lifestyle. Our ancient ancestors lived in a time of high stress and scarcity. We live in a time of high stress, abundance, and convenience. That is a bad combination, Dr. Cooley.
That's a bad combination. And yes, the food will cause us to have certain conditions if we eat too much of it. I want to change it just a little bit, Doc.
Of course.
Because I also think that exercise is also important.
Critical.
And a lot of people think that just because you eat organic food, that's going to change it's going to change the format. What are your thoughts on that? And Jen, let's get into the exercise portion of why is it important to be able to do both of those at the same time.
Okay. So let me, in the spirit of transparency, I did it when I was doing my own show. I never talked about and endorsed things that I myself did not do or take. I train 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. And I've done that for years. I'm 79 years old, Dr. Cooley.
Wow, man. Are you serious?
I'm serious. And I wasn't going to tell you that because, people will make all kinds of attributions about, oh my God, he's an old man. Well, come to Tampa and work out with me and find out. I've lived my whole life this way. And we evolved to move. We did not evolve to sit. We naturally selected to keep the body moving. When you are sedentary, the systems it's like letting a high performance car sit in your garage on blocks. The thing will rust out. The rubber will rot. It looks fine, but you try to start it, it won't start. The battery's dead. Same thing happens to the body in a sense, that metaphorically speaking. Moving and exercising, I don't care if it's for a walk for 5 minutes, is better than nothing, is central to living a healthy lifestyle. We just know that. Look, there's prevention. People practice prevention. I get that. But there's also preparation. Preparation for what? Preparation, because if you don't die of an accident, Dr. Cooley, we're going to die of some disease process or processes. We have to be prepared for that moment in life when we're going to get sick. Prevention, you can prevent a war, but are you prepared to fight that war? There's a difference. You can prevent something from happening to you, but are you prepared to fight that battle for your life when you do get sick? That means you have to be fit. You have to be psychologically fit, emotionally fit, physically fit, and spiritually fit. I believe that with my whole heart and soul. And I do train 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. People say, how can you invest that much time? My question is, why wouldn't I not invest? That's the best investment I can make. And so
let me say something, Doc. I'm gonna be real with you. I wouldn't even put you to be 60. So whatever you are doing, whatever you are doing, people need to know. I mean, and they need to know the food that you're eating. When we're gonna come back, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Some of the exercises that you're doing.
Okay.
And there's some of the trigger points that they need to pay attention to.
Okay.
Because we want to be 79 one day as well. And we want to look just like you when you
I just had my birthday. It was April 22nd. I was born 1944, April 22nd.
Happy birthday. I tell you, we're gonna take a station break. As you see, I'm all excited because the doc just tipped that scale and it's just put me in excitement. So if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments. Ask this great doc any question that you like. And I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley. The J.C. Cooley Foundation.
Them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you that excitement just from the end of the last segment is still gleaming out right now, because Dr. Mike, and he's 2 hours a day. You got to do it. You got to set time aside for yourself, so that we can continue to be healthy. We can continue to look like Dr. Mike. And I still don't believe he's 79. I mean,
neither can I.
And with the energy to maintain and have the stickability. The stickability is the most important thing, because, Doc, I believe if we start something, until God take us away, we got to finish it. That's just.
I like that. I like that.
If I like exercising, working out, I have to get me at least 2.5 hours a day. It's mandatory, and it's just part of. And I tell people, Doc, that it's kind of like part of paying your bills. You got to pay your light bill, you got to pay your food, you got to pay everything. You got to pay yourself, meaning your health bill, meaning working out, taking care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. So I kind of wandered off a little bit because the excitement just got me there.
That's okay. No, I love what you say. It comes from your heart. People ask me all the time, when I get interviewed, they'll say, well, what is it that you do? What is it that you do? Well, what I do, I can only share with what I do. One, my diet is primarily plant-based. I do eat meat, but it's not a lot of red meat. I eat fish, I eat chicken. I eat a Mediterranean diet. I also eat a version of the DASH diet, dietary approaches to stop hypertension. It's primarily plant-based, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and so on. Now, that's just that healthy approach. My lifestyle, I make sure I sleep 6 hours. I do okay with 6. I do better with 7. I do great with 8. Sleep is very, very important. I try to lead a life. There's always stress, so I try to manage stress by living in the moment. So managing stress is critical. And then I take dietary supplements. Not a gazillion of them, because I don't believe in doing that. I think you should take what is necessary. For my cardiovascular system, I take Strauss heart drops. Why? Because it has a blend of botanicals, herbs, the centerpiece of which is aged garlic extract. I'm just telling you, I've been doing this for over 25 years, 30 years. The research on aged garlic extract is astounding. It can slow and reduce coronary artery calcification progression. It reduces and regresses attenuation of soft fatty plaque. It attenuates moderate or severe arterial inflammation. It prevents platelet aggregation so that you don't get a stroke. It reduces coronary artery disease and heart attack related risk factors such as pro-inflammatory cytokines, in other words, associated with inflammation. I could go on and on. That's not an opinion. Those are facts from the research. And then it has other herbs in it that do similar and different things. That one supplement, if somebody says, what should I take for my heart, my cardiovascular system? Whether you have a heart problem or a cardiovascular problem or not, everybody should be taking Strauss heart drops. It's just,
how you spell that, Doc? How you spell that? Strauss?
Strauss, Straus, Strauss heart drops. It's made by a company called Strauss Naturals. They're a Canadian company, and they've been doing this for decades, for over 40 years. It is a wonderful company. It's family owned. They got to follow Canadian regulations plus US FDA regulations too. They make other products. If you go to StraussNaturals.com, you can learn more. So if there's one thing you could take for your cardiovascular system, it would be the Strauss heart drops. It will support the structure and function of your cardiovascular system. Go and read for yourself. And also, I think it's important to live a life listen, I'm a very flawed person. You know, the nuns used to write on my papers and my report card, room for improvement. So I have a lot of room for improvement. But I believe if you try to live a good life, and a good life meaning that you are in tune with others, you care about others, you try to help others, and you know, you just try to do the right thing when nobody's looking, and you're optimistic about life. We know from the research that people that live this way and who are optimistic live longer and have better quality of life. We all have suffered. There's no way to avoid adversity. We will get sick, we will suffer, we have financial issues, relationship. We all suffer in our own way. But, you know, I've been through a lot, maybe some other show we can talk about that. I've never said, why me? What I do say is, why not me? It makes a difference, Dr. Cooley, in how you will approach adversity. And it does change the quality of your life. I can tell from you, just talking to you, the other Dr. Cooley, Michelle, and you're good people. You have a good spirit about you. I can feel that. I sense that. And that's why I opened up on this show. I typically don't do that like that, but I wanted to be very genuine with you because you brought that out. And so I can see by the way you live and how you treat people that, you know, you have a good life, and that really inures to your health and wellness. It truly does. People don't believe that, but it does. I believe that with my whole heart and soul.
Wow. We're down to the last minute and a half of this show. I want to say one thing. Got to have you back. Michelle going to get in touch with Crystal real soon because there's a lot of stuff on here that we did not get a chance to cover because the excitement kind of took me in a different couple of different ways.
Well, you're such a good person. I can see that. You're so sincere and so genuine. You're so, and again, I want to thank you publicly for your service. You spent your whole life in the military protecting our country. And I want to thank you for that. That speaks about who you are.
I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. And certainly want to get you back again real soon.
Anytime. I'll come on your show anytime you want me to.
Because it's so much that we can talk about, and there's so much that people can learn from you. So I want to thank you. I want to thank my producer, Todd Pyrick, for always being together, putting together great shows. I'd like to thank my executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers, now listeners, for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's your life every day, Monday through Friday, same time. I tell you, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do.
Thanks for joining us for the James Cooley Show. It's your life. To learn more about Dr. James Cooley and how you can support the show or become a guest, visit CooleyFoundation.org. Join James for more motivation and inspiration to help you become equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. This has been It's Your Life with Dr. James Cooley, where you learn how to dream big, think big, and be big in everything you do.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Straight out of my head. Yes, we all